Hi and welcome to this Bluehost tutorial. Welcome to the second part, and in the second part of this Bluehost tutorial you're going to learn how to use the file manager. We're going to look at how you can upload, download, edit your files. If you want to extract and compress them, we're going to look at all that, and then we're also going to look at how to use the FTP. So if you want to use an FTP client such as FileZilla, WinSCP and any other, you're going to learn how to do that. I'm going to show you how you can create a new FTP account on Bluehost and then log in to your account via FTP. And after that, you're going to look at databases. So if you want to create databases and use them for your custom scripts, maybe you want to install WordPress manually or you want to install Magento manually, then you're going to need a database, and we're going to see how you can work with databases on Bluehost. And then finally, we're going to see how you can install various scripts, how you can install something like Magento on a subdomain, or if you want to install WordPress on a subdomain, you're going to see how you can install WordPress on a subdomain or any other script. And then we're going to end the Bluehost tutorial there by finalizing and taking a look at everything we've looked at from the first part to this point. So if you haven't watched the first part, make sure you do so, because we covered various things in the first part as well. For example, some of the things we looked at include, we did an overview of the cPanel, and you can see how the Bluehost cPanel is. So if you want to see that, go and watch the first part. We also looked at how you can assign a domain to Bluehost. So if you have a domain on Namecheap and you want to use that to create a new website on Bluehost, I showed you how you can connect it with your Bluehost account so that you can create another website on it. And then we also saw how you can install WordPress. So if you want to install WordPress on a domain, then you're going to see how to do that using the one-click install. And then we also looked at emails, and I showed you how to use emails on Bluehost, how you can send, create. And then I also showed you how you can connect your emails with Microsoft Outlook so that you can just use Outlook for your email. So you don't have to log into Bluehost every time. You can just use Outlook on your computer to check your emails, send emails, and so on. And the final thing we looked at in the first part was domains. So maybe you want to create domain redirects, you want to create subdomains, and so much more about domains. So if you want to look at all that, you want to learn all these things that I've mentioned, just go to the first part and you're going to see all these sections and you're going to learn all this. So just get started right now and watch the video, and if you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment below and I will reply when I see it. So just get started watching the video right away. See you in the next part. Hi and welcome back. In this video, let's look at the file manager, and we're going to see how you can upload, download, compress, how you can use the file manager to even back up your own website. So let's get started right away, and I'm just going to click on the file manager. I can click to go into the home directory, or I can go into the web root, but let me just click on home directory so that I can show you how you can go into various sections from there. Here's your file manager. You can access all your files here. So your website files will be inside here. Your email will be inside here. Your email files will be inside here. If you need to back it up, just come here and you can select all, compress as a zip file. So this is in case you're moving to a different web host provider and you want to back all these things up. Just come here, and once you do this, you can transfer these files into the new mail folder for that particular web host that is using cPanel. So you can just put this folder in there, go into the cPanel of that web host, then click on upload and upload this. So if you want to download this, just click on it and then click download, and the download will begin automatically. So if you want to go into your website folder there, inside of the public HTML directory, that's where you're going to find all of your websites. Okay, if you have different websites on your Bluehost account, this is where you're going to get them. So if you click on, let me click on this, because this is a website that I've been using throughout in this tutorial. So this is my WordPress. These are my WordPress files. I didn't install it in a directory. I installed it on the root folder, and these are all the files for my website. So if you want to back all these files, what I'll do, I can just select them. Okay, select everything, compress, and create it as a zip file, and you can give it a name. You can call it wp backup.zip, and then if I compress that, it's going to compress all the files, and then I will be able to download that, and I can move that into a new website, extract them, and then also go and take my database into the new website, and I can move my website that way. But there are a bunch of WordPress tools that you can use for that, such as duplicator plugin. So if you want to add any new file, you can just click on new file, and you'll add any new file that you want to add in there. Maybe you want to add index.php, which is already there, so let me call it php. When you're verifying your website with Google Analytics or Web Console, you may need to upload something into your web server, and this is how you will do it. You'll just come in here and you can upload whichever file you've been given to upload in here. So you can see all these others. These are also websites which are here. So if you have many websites, you need to know the folder the particular website is using for all the files, so that when you're uploading things, you know where they need to go. What else is remaining here? If you need to edit anything here, like let's say you want to edit this, you can just click on it, then select, right click, select code edit, and you'll be able to edit the files. Once you have changed anything, just make sure you click on save, so that you can save the changes. So that's how you can use the file manager on Bluehost for managing your website files. And if you need to delete anything, you can just click on it and delete it. If you need to upload, just click upload, and you can upload whatever you want to upload. If you have something that you've uploaded and you need to extract it, you'll just click here. For instance, when you buy themes and plugins, you will need to come into WP content. If it is a plugin, just come in here and then upload the file, upload the actual zip file of that plugin, and then once you upload it, you can extract it in here. So that's pretty much it for this file manager tutorial on Bluehost. In the next one, let's see how you can work with the FTP manager to enable you get access to your files through an FTP client. So I will see you in that next video. And if you have any questions, feel free to let me know. And just a recap, in this video, you have learned how you can use the file manager. You've seen how you can upload, download, extract, compress your files in your Bluehost account. So this is the same for any web host that is using cPanel. This is cPanel. So you'll just go into file manager for that particular web host. If they're using cPanel, then you're going to see this. Okay. So I will see you in the next video. Hi and welcome. In this video, let's talk about the FTP manager. So if I scroll down here under files, we are going to learn about how to use the FTP so that you can connect into your website, and you can upload files, download files, and edit files using your FTP client. So in the last video, we saw how you can use the file manager. So if you don't want to use the FTP, you can actually use the file manager to edit your files, compress your files, download your files, upload files, and all the other functionality that you saw on the file manager window. So if you don't want to use FTP, go ahead and use the file manager, because one of the advantages of the file manager is that you can extract compressed files right there on your file manager. But with FTP, you can't do that. You cannot extract them via FTP. So let's go straight ahead and start by creating a new FTP account for the website that we created. So here we are. You'll need to give your FTP a login username, and you're also going to need to give it a password, and your password must have all this. Okay, so make sure your password has all this so that you can create your FTP account successfully. So I will call mine 1, since I don't want it to, I want it to be at the top of the list of the FTP accounts that I have. I will start with 1, or I can even start with 2, Wahowa. And then I want to create it for bizenosa.club. And Let me enter the password. And then you can see it has automatically put this directory in here. But I know I don't have this user, so let me just remove that so that I can give them access to all the files which are inside of this directory. So if you want them to have access to everything inside of your public HTML, just remove that. If you want them to have access with everything inside of your root folder, then just remove that. But I want them to have access only to this folder. So you can also give them a quota just to make sure that they never ever exceed the amount of space that you put in here, the amount of megabytes that you put in here. But in my case, I'll just give them unlimited because I'm going to delete this website as soon as possible. And then just click on create FTP so that you can create the FTP account. So here we have the username. So you can change the password. If you forget the password for this, you can just come here and change the password. Configure your FTP client. Let's see our FTP details here. So FTP username there, FTP server, and then the port. So you know your password and you only need access with this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come into WinSCP. So there are a couple of FTP clients that you can use. FileZilla is there. We have this. We have CyberDuck for Mac users. Then we have FileZilla for Windows. We have this for Mac. But I normally use WinSCP. So if you just go online, let me search for WinSCP. WinSCP. Then search for WinSCP. You can download it and use it. Whatever, I'm using a VPN. Forget about that. You can just search for WinSCP and use it to access your website. So in my case, I'm using WinSCP. So I'll need to add a new website, and I'm not using SFTP, I'm using FTP. And the host name, what was the host name here? Okay, let's first of all take the username, copy the username, paste in the username, and my password I already know it, so I'm just going to, even with this, I can take that, copy, let's that be our host name, and then so the host name is that, and then you put in your password. Then let's try, if you want to save it on WinSCP, you know what, I can save this, save with the password, but this is not safe. I never do this, but this is not safe. If you save with the password, if somebody gets access to your computer, they're going to have access to your FTP. So if I try to log in, let's just hope that everything was okay so that it can log us in. And there you go. You now have access to your files. So these are all your website files. If you want to add anything in there, if you want to edit anything, you can copy it into your computer and then edit it, or you can just use the default WinSCP editor that you set. So like if I want to edit this, it will get downloaded, and then I can edit anything. Let's say I just add a space in there, and then I save. As soon as I click save, you see it is down uploading the file. So progress 0, and then it is done. So that's how you can upload, download everything. Okay, if you want to download anything, you can just select it and select download. You can duplicate it, you can move. If you want to move it anywhere else, you can rename things. So that's how you can use your FTP to access your account. So the most important thing for you is you create the account. Okay, once you create the account, you will use this as your username, and then you will use that as your server. All right, and the port is 21, and make sure that whichever FTP client you're using, then let's say I click here on new session. Whichever FTP client you're using, select the protocol of FTP because you're not using FTP. Okay, so that's it for this video. In this video, you've seen how you can connect to your account using FTP. So as I said, if you don't want to use FTP, you can just use the file manager because the file manager is very easy to use. Once you log into your account, you can upload, download, extract any files that you need to work with at any point. So that's it for this video. And if you have any questions, feel very free to let me know. I don't know what I should cover next in the next video. I think we're pretty much done with the most basic things that we can deal with. So I think one thing that I haven't covered is databases. So in the next video, let's go in and create a database. So in the next video, we're going to see how to work with databases, and I'm going to see you in that next video. Hi and welcome back. In this video, we're going to talk about how you can work with databases on your Bluehost account. So let's say maybe you have some script that you need to install, and you also need to create databases for that script. Let's say you're not using the one-click install for whichever script you're installing. So in that case, you're going to need to create a database for that script. And if you are going to use a database for PHP, normally you must have a database name, you must have a database user, and you must have a password for that user. So you can use the MySQL wizard to create a new database along with the users. You can also use this MySQL database, just create a database and add it to a user who is already in your database. You can also go into phpMyAdmin so that you can manage your databases. Maybe you want to import a database, you want to export a database, you want to delete certain tables, you want to add certain things in certain tables, you want to edit things in your PHP tables in your database. Then you can use phpMyAdmin. And let me just click on this. So I hope it will open, but normally I get an issue with it on my Bluehost account. So I've clicked on this. Now the one that is more important to you is if you want to create a database, you want to create a user, then you'll click on MySQL wizard, and this will guide you through a step-by-step process on how you can create the database, you can create the user, and you can create the password for that user, so that you can use those credentials for any script that you're uploading. In the MySQL database, the first step is you create the database, and the database automatically gets your username as there for security purposes. So let's say we want to create a database called sample.db. And then next step, we will connect it to a user. Then you can create a user, and then you give a password. Make sure your password is strong. I'm using a weak password, and then I'll create the user. And then here you can decide which privileges do you want to give this user for this database. Okay, so in most cases you can just select all privileges if you're the admin and you're going to use this, or sometimes you can just give them various privileges based on what you need to do. Okay, so you can give different privileges based on what your script demands, but in my case I'm just going to give it all privileges because I'm going to delete this anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Now the user has privileges for that database, and you can use this and this to connect any script. Let's say you are installing WordPress. Without using the one-click install, you're going to need to add a database user, and you're going to need to add a database name and a password. Okay, when I click on this, it automatically gives me all my databases. Okay, all of them are here. So you just click on it and it will take you into your databases. Let's see if the database that I created is here. So now that I've reloaded the page, apparently I need to log in again. Nonetheless, let me just put in the username that I had here. What's the username? Wahowa user. And then I can log in. So if you don't know where you can get your login and password, let's say you installed WordPress, using the one-click install. If you install WordPress using the one-click install, you can get your database password, the database that is being used by WordPress, by going into the file manager. Where is the file manager? I had one open here. So if I go into the file manager and then I go back into my root folder for my WordPress website, then I can go into what's it called, WP config. And if I go and open code edit WP config, I will be able to find my database username, my database password, my database hostname, and they're all here, okay? Database name, database password, and the database username. All of that you can find here. So if you need to find them, you need to use them anywhere else, this is where you'll find them, okay? If you have to log into your database and do something manually, then first of all, you need to go into your WP config, take the database password, take the database username, so that you can log into phpMyAdmin. Don't know what errors these are, but I don't really know what they're about. But if I need to import a database here, I'll just click there to import a database. If I already have certain tables that I want to use in this database, then I can do this. Maybe you're migrating from another web host. You can do this. You'll just come in here, import your database, and then you can also upload your files. And if you're using the same domain that you're using in the previous web host, you're not going to have issues importing your website, because it is the same domain, the same links. So it's just going to work out of the box as long as the import goes smoothly. So for some reason this has refused to open up, but normally that's how you do it in phpMyAdmin. You'll just come here into import, and then you'll get the option to choose the file from your computer, and then you can import it into your database. And that's something that's usually very possible and very doable. But unfortunately, there are some errors on this phpMyAdmin on Bluehost, and I don't know what is causing them. And unfortunately, it's a shared hosting, so there's nothing I can do. I can't check the files, I can't check the logs. There's nothing I can do. That's one of the reasons why I started using VPS, so that if there's any error, I can go and find out what the issue is myself. So that's it for this video. In this video, you've learned how you can create a database and use that database for your application. And you've also seen that if you want to know the details for your WordPress database that was installed via one-click install, you just need to go into your WP config, and then you're going to find all those credentials in there. And that is the same for all the other scripts that you're going to install. If you install any script via one-click install, every script has a database file whereby there is a config file. You can access the database name there, you can access the username and the password. So that's it for this video. And in the next video, let's look at something that I forgot to look at, and that is how you can install on subdomains. It's just the same process, okay? But I just want to do it anyway. And we're going to see how we can install anything else, one of these other one-click installs, into our subdomain. And the process is just the same. The only difference is that when you get to the point of choosing the domains, you're going to choose your subdomain. That's the only difference. So in the next video, that's what you're going to do, and that's going to be the last video that entails this Bluehost tutorial. So if there's anything else that I may have forgotten, just let me know, and I will see if I can cover it, or I can just give you a link for where you can find something to help you with it, because Bluehost has a very intense documentation for almost anything on Bluehost that you want to do. So you can just search for Bluehost, how to do this on Bluehost, how to do that on Bluehost, and you're going to find that the solutions that come up are probably going to be on the Bluehost website. So you don't have to worry. That's the same for every website that is serious about their business. Every web host that is serious about their business, they'll give you tutorials on how to do things, how to move your domain to Bluehost, how to add name servers on Bluehost, how to activate this, how to add databases, how to import databases. You're going to find every web host that is serious about their business, they have a documentation, because that is like a marketing thing for them. So if there's anything that you don't know how to do, I mean, it's just as easy as going to Google and then you search for how to do X on Bluehost, how to add X on Bluehost. All the solutions will be there for you. So I'll see you in the next video where we're going to end by installing any of the other scripts. And I think I'm going to try Magento, and we're going to see how to install Magento on a subdomain. So I will see you in the next video. Hi and welcome back. So in this video, we're going to see how you can install any script on a subdomain. So I want to use Magento, but if you want to install WordPress, well and good. The process is just the same. So before you even get started, you have to know that running something like Magento on a shared web hosting is a bad idea, because at some point, if your store gets popular, and not even that popular, you're gonna get an email from them telling you that, hey man, you're using so much of our resources, you need to upgrade or move. So if I were you and I'm planning to run something like that, I would just go for a VPS, and VPS is very affordable these days. If you go to Vultr, you're going to find a $5 server. $5 server is enough for you to run Magento. The only advice I would give you is don't install Magento and run it on Apache and Nginx. You can use a Vesta CP. Vesta is a control panel, a free control panel, and if you use it, just make sure when you're installing it, you install the Nginx plus PHP FPM, and that will enable you to run any website with very minimal resources. Like I run my WordPress website right now on Vultr using the same setting, PHP FPM and Nginx, and I mean the resources that I'm consuming are so minimal. I can install so many more websites, and I'm not using an expensive server. It's very affordable. So if you want to run things like this, just start using VPS. It's not even that complicated. And after I do this tutorial on Bluehost, the next one I'm going to do is going to be about Vultr and how you can install your websites, how you can run any website on a VPS. But I'm going to use Vultr as my demo because it is the one that I currently use. I personally like to tell people about things that I've used. I don't tell people about things I haven't used. So that's why I'll be using Vultr. I've also used DigitalOcean, but not as much as Vultr. The skills you're going to learn in that course, I haven't created it yet. They will be transferable to any VPS that you'll be using, whether it's DigitalOcean or any of those others. So that's it for the intro part. So let's just go ahead and install Magento on a subdomain. And I'm just going to start by clicking on one-click installs. And then, of course, let me run down the scripts so that I can find the one that I want, which is Magento. And I'm going to choose, I don't know whether Magento 2 is here. I can see Magento 1.9. I can see Magento 2. Is there a search? No, there is no search. Oh, who cares? I'll just use the Magento 1.9. But if you wanted to install Magento 2, maybe you'd have to install it manually. If you're using your own VPS, you just download it from Magento website, then you install it. So I'll click on install to install the Magento 1.9. Just click on get started. And of course, you can see the process is just the same. You select a domain or a subdomain. And let's look at the subdomain that I had created called tests. I don't know how it was called, but it has something to do with .club. Yeah, abc.club. So I can use abc.club, and I don't want to install it in a directory. I'll just install it on the root, and I'll go next. And then you can give your website the information that you want for it, like the admin first name. I'll just call it admin last name, sys, and then the email address, and then the admin username. Yeah, I'll just leave it as admin, but of course you need to change yours. And then I will use password as my password. Of course, you have to use something that's secure. And if you already have a database created, you can use that database right here. Just put the username, the password, and the user. Just put the credentials for your database there. But I want the system to create a new database for me. So I will go next. So Let's just wait for it to install Magento for us. You can see it's at 45%. Let's wait for it to install, and then we're going to go into our Magento site. So you can see the installation failed, probably because of the resources. There are probably certain limits in the PHP file that I can't get access to. So if you want to do something like this, you probably have to do it manually. And the way that you do that, you'll just download Magento, and then you put Magento inside of the directory that you want to install it. And then you'd create a database and connect to that database, and that will work because it doesn't have to use any scripting to do that. You'll just be installing Magento. If you want to run an e-commerce website using Magento, the last place you should be looking into is a shared web hosting. Just use VPS because VPS has become very affordable. I mean, Valtra even has a $2.50 plan. It isn't really as expensive as it used to be. So nowadays you can run your website on a VPS at a more affordable cost than you'd run it on any shared web hosting. Like let's take for example WP Engine. They're a WordPress intensive, let me just call it WordPress intensive web host, and their plans I don't think they have a plan that is less than $20. So if you want to run your website there, you have to pay so much money for those services. But for what purpose really? You can just do the same thing on a VPS. I mean, I'm telling you, I run my website on Valtra, okay, and I'm using the 250 server. I'm just doing an experiment with that to see how much traffic that can support. And if I get to a point where I see that that is just not enough for my website anymore, I'm going to upgrade. But as per now, that's what I'm using. I used to receive once in a while, your website is down errors when I was using Bluehost, which were very rare, and I have to commend Bluehost on that. But nowadays, I don't receive those errors. And the secret is very simple. I mean, regardless of what some web admins will say out there, don't use Apache on your web host. Don't use it. I mean, if you have a small VPS, don't use Apache. It's going to consume so much resources. And why are you going to use Apache while you can use Nginx with VestaCP? And VestaCP comes with the configurations ready. You don't have to configure anything. You just install VestaCP. Make sure when you're installing it, you choose the option for Nginx and Apache, Nginx and PHP FPM. Because if you choose the one for Nginx and Apache and you want to run it on a server that has less than 2 GB, you're going to experience website outages after every 3 hours, you know. So just take my advice. If you're going to use a VPS and you're running WordPress, just forget about Apache, okay? I know there are people who love it, people who've used it, and it's a great web server if you have a lot of memory. But if you don't use it. Use Nginx and PHP FPM, and the configurations are already there on VestaCP. So the keywords for you are a VPS and VestaCP and Nginx and PHP FPM. When you're installing VestaCP, that's what you need to use. The configurations are already there on the VestaCP panel, and I'm going to do a tutorial about this after I'm done with editing these Bluehost videos. And I'm not even going to try and rectify this because I don't really need Magento for anything right now. I was just showing you how to install it, and if the installation is not successful, then there's nothing I can do about it right now. So that's going to mark the end of the tutorials in this Bluehost tutorial. And in the next video, I'm just going to come in and remove the domain I assigned and just finish up the course. That's all I will be doing in the next video. I won't be teaching you anything new. So if you have any questions, make sure you let me know, and I will see you in the next video. So I'll see you in that next video. Hello and welcome to another video. And in this video, I just want to show you how you can delete an email. So let's say that you've just created an email and you want to delete it. Maybe you've fired someone from your company, or an email has been changed and you want to delete the email. This is how to do it. First of all, you're going to come into the email manager so that you can see all your emails. When you know the email that you want to delete, you just come and click on view details, and then when you scroll down, you're going to see the option to delete, and you'll just click on delete to delete the email, and you need to confirm that you want to delete it, and the email will be deleted. So that's it. That's how to delete an email from your Bluehost account. Hi, and welcome back. In this video, I want to show you how you can add a free SSL on your domain. So if you want to use SSL and you want to use a free one, continue watching. If you want to add the SSL, you'll just scroll down and you can add it from here. You can just click on SSL and it is going to take you into the area where you can add the SSL. Or you can also scroll down here into security. And you'll also find this SSL. You can just click on it, and when you click on it, it's going to give you the option to either buy or use the free SSL. So as you can see, I already have SSL installed on this one, and it's a free SSL. So what you're going to do, if you have more than one domain, you're going to choose the domain right here, and let me choose the one that we added. So what's going to happen is Bluehost is going to add a record on your DNS records, and that is going to help them verify the domain. So if you want to use the free SSL, you'll just click on Get Started. And then you choose an email, and then you'll just click on Install. Okay? So this is going to get installed on that and that. So you're going to install, and as soon as you click on this, everything is going to happen automatically, and you're going to receive an email telling you that you've purchased SSL and it is at no cost. So as soon as your free SSL has finished installing, it's going to work by default. So you don't have to do anything else. This is all you have to do. The only people that have to do something else, if you're using WordPress and this is an old website that you're adding the SSL on, what I mean is if your WordPress is already running and you're adding the SSL right now, the only next step you're going to have to do is you're going to go into your WordPress website, and then you're going to install a plugin called Really Simple SSL. And as soon as you install that plugin, activate it, it's going to ask you to enable SSL. Once you enable SSL, it's going to redirect everything. It's going to redirect everything from HTTP to HTTPS. But it won't do that for everything. For example, if there are pages where you've added, what are they called? Absolute links. If you've added an absolute link to an image, you're going to have to change it to either HTTPS, or you're going to have to remove the protocol and just have the slashes in front of the link to that image or that file. Okay, so that's the only thing you're going to have to do if you use WordPress. Install Really Simple SSL, activate it, enable SSL, and then if you have places that need to be changed, you have to change them manually. For example, if you have images that you added manually, maybe you're using a background image and you added it manually, you're going to have to do that yourself. You're going to have to change the link for that image. For example, if you have a link in your CSS file and it points to http:/the image, you're going to change the HTTP to HTTPS, or you're going to remove the HTTP so that it just shows HTTP, so that it just shows the slashes in front of it. And if you experience an issue whereby you've installed HTTPS and it's already installed, and certain pages are showing you that it's secure, while on other pages the security is not being shown, that is a green thing, is not being shown, what you're going to do is you're going to open the debugger, and in the debugger, I think it's network. If you go under network, let's see if it's network. No, security. If you go into security, it's going to show you the link. It's going to show you the links. It's going to show you links that are making that page not be secure. Like if you have links to an image, it's going to show you that link there, and you can just go in and change that particular link so that it can use HTTPS. If it is an image, if it is a CSS file, JavaScript file, a PDF, you're going to change that manually. So I think it's security. I'm not sure about that. Just check security. I don't think it's network. Based on what I'm seeing here, I don't think it's network. It's got to be security. And it's going to show you any files that are not secure. So here there's nothing much I can do. But wait, okay? As soon as it happens, if there's any other steps for you to do, you're going to be told. But as per now, you just chill and wait. Like if I click on this right now, it's going to tell me that I've ordered. Okay, this is what is going to tell you once the SSL has already been installed, but it hasn't been installed for the domain that I should have clicked on. And I should click on that. And if I say show renewal options, you see it tells me that my SSL is not yet installed, and you can see it is still at the stage whereby it has just sent an email. And then once it has sent this email to me, there's nothing I have to do really. I just have to sit and wait for the SSL to be activated. And if there's anything that you need to do, you're going to get the directions in your email. But in most cases, there's nothing that you will need to do. As soon as it confirms that your DNS records are pointing to Bluehost and your web server is on Bluehost, it's going to activate the SSL, it's going to install it on your server, and your domain is going to use HTTPS. Okay, so there's nothing that you have to do unless you're somebody who uses WordPress. You just need to install the plugin, activate it, enable SSL, and any links, any images, any PDFs that you added manually using HTTP, you're going to have to remove the HTTPS and change it. You're going to have to remove the HTTP and change it to HTTPS, or you're going to remove the protocol altogether and just have the slashes in front of it, and that will use the protocol that is available. So I hope this video is going to help you enable SSL on your website, because Chrome and Firefox and a bunch of other, even Opera, nowadays they show this red thing here. If your website is not secure, it just tells people not secure. So just install SSL so that you can get the green check mark there. So that's it for this video. If you have any questions, make sure you let me know. Hello and welcome to the final video in this Bluehost tutorial. So if I can just do a small recap. In this video, what we've done, we have looked at various things that I believe are crucial to any person who is starting to host their own website. So if you want to host your website on Bluehost, this tutorial will be very helpful to you. It will help you do various things. Like some of the things we've looked at are, we looked at the overview of the cPanel, that is this section here. So we looked at some of this, and if you want to get here, you can just click on cPanel and you'll have the same window like I have right now. So we did an overview about these different elements, and you can just click on them to see what they're all about. I also showed you how you can point your domain to Bluehost. Let's say your Bluehost account is the one that allows you to have multiple websites on the same account. Then you can have your domain on GoDaddy, you can have a domain on Namecheap, and then you just connect those domains to your Bluehost account so that they can point to the servers on Bluehost. And I showed you how to do that. And if you watch the two videos, you're going to see how to do it well. Okay, it's just a step of updating the name servers, and once you update the name servers, you assign that domain to Bluehost. And I also showed you how to install WordPress on Bluehost. If you want to install WordPress, you want to use WordPress, you can install WordPress. In the last video, I tried to install Magento, but I couldn't. I received some error. I don't know what the error was about, but probably some PHP limit that has been set by the Bluehost team. So that's one reason why I was recommending that you use a VPS if you're going to host something as big as Magento. And then I also went into creating emails, and you saw how you can create different emails. You can create emails. You also saw how you can connect your emails with Outlook, so that instead of going and logging into your website every time you want to look at your emails, you can just open Outlook on your computer, or you can just open Outlook on your mobile phone and view your emails, send emails, and do any email related tasks with the emails that you have connected with your Outlook. So just watch that video and you'll see which configurations I'm talking about. And then we also looked at domains, and in domains, you saw how you can create redirects, how you can create subdomains, and any other thing that we discussed in the domain area. Just feel free to look at that video and you're going to know everything that we talked about. And then after that, we looked at the file manager, and in the file manager, you saw how you can compress all your files and download them. So that would act as a backup for you. And then we also worked with databases, and you saw how you can create a database. I tried to import a database into phpMyAdmin, and there were some errors. I don't know what's causing these issues on Bluehost, but I know sometimes that happens, but they'll be resolved. So maybe for you, when you follow along with me in the videos, you're going to realize that everything is working fine. So it just depends. Sometimes maybe they're working on the servers, or sometimes they have certain limitations that they haven't opened up yet. In this video, I want to go under domains, and I want to remove the domain that I assigned to Bluehost. If I go into domains, then I go into domain manager, I'm going to see all the domains that I have attached to this account at some point, that I have attached to my Bluehost account at some point. But right now, I just want to look at the one which we were dealing with. So the one that I was dealing with was bizanosa.club, and I want to unassign it. You see, if you want to remove it from your account, first of all, you have to unassign it. And once you have unassigned it, then you can remove it from your account. So I need to delete it from the cPanel account before I can unassign it. But the good thing is that it doesn't really matter, because whether I remove it or I don't, I know that if I want to use this domain anywhere else, I can do it. I will just need to change the name servers to the servers of the server where I want to store the files. So you saw how I did that for Bluehost, and you can do the same thing for any web host that you're using. You just change the name servers for this domain where it is registered, and you're going to be able to use it and point it to those files. Even if there are certain files for that website that are still here, it doesn't matter. As long as on the new server you have all the files for the website and the name servers are pointing to this website. So it doesn't really matter whether I'm able to remove it or not, and I can just leave it without any worries that it may affect any future that I have for the domain. I just know that nothing's really going to affect the website. As long as I want to use it anywhere else, I'm just going to go in and use the domain by changing the name servers to the server where I want to use it. Like if I want to use it on Valtra, I'll just take my name servers from Valtra and add them to Namecheap where the domain has been registered. Okay, so that's it for this course. Okay, and I hope it helps you if you want to navigate your way around Bluehost, especially if you're new to this web hosting stuff. Then this will be a very good course to get you started on most of the things that you'll need to do throughout on your Bluehost account or any web hosting account. Because if the web hosting account that you're using uses cPanel, then you don't even have to relearn anything at all. You just need to transfer the skills based on the interface that the cPanel is being run on. So if your web host hasn't changed the cPanel, then you're going to see the same things, the same names, but the only difference is going to be that the interface is going to be different. Okay, the interface is not going to be the same as the one for Bluehost. So in the next course, what I'll do, I will do a tutorial on how you can install a server on a VPS account, how you can run WordPress, you can run any website. And as soon as I'm done, I will let you know when I'm done with that course. But meanwhile, you can just join any of my courses on Udemy or Skillshare. You can follow me on Facebook, Twitter. You can follow me on Facebook. I'm not really active on Twitter, but I auto post things on Twitter. You can follow me on Facebook. When you do that, when the course is ready, I'm going to let you know. you can even you can join any of my courses. And if you join any of my courses on Udemy or Skillshare, as soon as the course is uploaded, I'm going to send out an alert to you so you can know. So you can just plan, and when I'm done with the course, you can decide that you're going to use that course to move into VPS hosting, because I'm going to do a step-by-step tutorial. So the things I'm going to use are Valtra as my VPS provider, and then I'm going to use CentOS as the operating system for our web server, and then I'm going to use Vesta CP to run our web management. So you are used to using cPanel. No, we are not going to use cPanel. cPanel is expensive. We are cheap, right? We're going to use Vesta CP, which is free and has a lot of great features. So just bear with me. As soon as I create it, I will let you know, okay? And you can use it to move your website from any shared hosting that you're using into VPS hosting. And it will be a very simple process. I mean, it may sound like it's something that's complicated, but it's not really, because all the scripts will already be there. All the commands will just be already there for you. You'll just copy them, put them in on your command window, and everything will just work out, okay? They've been tested. They're the ones that I use. Lots of people use them as well. So it's not really something that should get you to a point where you believe that, no, that's not for me. No, if you want to move away from shared hosting, the next course I'm going to create is going to give you that opportunity to move from shared hosting. Meanwhile, if you want to use any shared web hosting, I have a couple of shared web hosting that I've used in the past, and I would recommend them to you if dealing with the VPS and managing your own web server is something that you just feel like, no, that's too much work for me. So if you want to do shared hosting, I have a couple of web hosts that I've used in the past, and I recommend them. Therefore, in that list, if you go to bizanosa.com/hosting, I have them listed there, and Bluehost is one of them. The only reason I have Bluehost listed is because I've used Bluehost the most. Like for my own website, 3 years I used Bluehost. So this is the final year where I'm moving away. My account is expiring and I'm just moving away. I've actually moved away. Just follow me on Facebook, join any of my courses, even free if you're not going to watch it, because when I create an alert, you'll be alerted when I create the alert. And if you have any questions, make sure you let me know. I will be here for you. And just a word of caution. Maybe if you experience any errors, any issues in the future that you need help with, I may not have a Bluehost account to help you through. So I will need someone to volunteer the account, maybe for the demo that I will need to do, because I'm not going to buy any Bluehost account ever again. So that's just something that I wanted to let you know in advance. So I will see you next time. And all the best with your website if you're running it on Bluehost. Until next time.